Again, by the end of the month, the nuclear power station has been closed since March. EDF Energy has been working to fix the reactor, which was shut down after experts discovered high moisture levels. The final stage of the repair work is underway. Almost all the wood that fell from a cargo ship into the sea off the Suffolk coast has been recovered. It's stacked up on the Coast Guard vessel the Rotterdam. Last month, a ship bound for the UK shed nearly 60 tonnes of timber into the sea.
The England under-21 football team has been playing Lithuania in Colchester this afternoon. It's the biggest international fixture ever held at the community stadium, and among the crowd, hundreds of schoolchildren.
Back to school, and for these children the new term has started with a bang. A field trip with a difference.
If lots of people are cheering, that means they're going to do it, and that means they're going to score really good.
Probably a draw, probably, yeah.
And what's it like having the afternoon out of lessons to go and watch?
That's amazing.
Marketfield School in Elmstead looks after children with special needs. As a gift to the pupils, Colchester United donated free tickets so some could watch the match. This afternoon's more unusual kick-off time at 4 o'clock means that this game won't clash with the senior men's game later on this evening, and in turn it buys the club's staff an extra hour to get the stadium up and ready for this international fixture.
We've been here 3 years now. We've had an under-19 game, a ladies full international, and now we've moved up to the under-21 international, so it's good that what we're doing here is recognised at a national level by the FA.
How rewarding is it to bring them here and see them so excited?
Oh, it's great. That's why I'm in the job.
I think they get to learn some of what we talk about in school. It's all about winning and losing. You can't win all the time. No, they're really excited. They don't show it that much, maybe, but they'll talk about this for months afterwards.
It took England just over an hour to get their first goal. Danny Welbeck with this effort. He also set up the second, Mark Albright this time. Then Welbeck got his second. Final score 3-0, the result they were hoping for and a day they'll never forget. Kate Riley, BBC Look East, Colchester.
The scale of the job losses facing the police in this region is becoming more clear this evening, although the details won't be officially confirmed until next month.
We've got estimates from 4 of our forces. They suggest at least 1,600 jobs will go. The final total across the region could be at least double that. Here's our Home Affairs correspondent Sally Chidzoy.
The police are used to being under pressure, but the pressure they're under now has never been greater. Government-enforced cuts will mean police forces axing posts across the board. Last week, the outgoing Chief Constable of Cambridgeshire, Julie Spence, spoke out against the cuts.
It would be Armageddon. The police service that you see today would not be the police service that you see in the future.
That's if cuts of 40% are pushed through. Even if they're half that, it will hurt. Some police forces in this region are predicting hundreds of job losses. Hertfordshire Police estimate they could lose between 600 and 800 posts over the next 4 years if the cuts go ahead at the level predicted. Suffolk Police say they could lose 500 jobs across the board. But not all police forces in this region are releasing figures, among them Northamptonshire and Essex. Bedfordshire Police say they haven't put a figure on it because they don't want to worry their staff. Norfolk Police are also cautious about making predictions.
We feel that there is no point coming out with numbers which may not be correct. If Suffolk and Hertfordshire want to do that, and that's what they think is going to happen, it's entirely up to them to make that decision. We haven't made that decision. We're not going to make that decision until we know for certain what the cuts are going to be.
But Norfolk Police has previously said it fears the loss of 165 police officer posts. Its Chief Constable, Phil Gormley, has declined to comment at this stage. John Price of the Police Federation has done his sums on the cuts in Bedfordshire.
We could see a reduction in up to or more than 200 police officers by the end of the cuts if the full cuts go through. We don't have spare officers currently, therefore if you reduce those numbers something has to give, and therefore there is a risk that the public will suffer because of that, but there is also a risk to individual officers.
One Chief Constable has already predicted that crime could rise if police jobs are axed at the scale predicted. The extent of the cuts will be made known next month. Sally Chidzoy, BBC Look East.
And there's more on the spending review on our website, from expert BBC correspondents to a special spending calculator. That's at bbc.co.uk/spending review.
Now, this week we're celebrating the 70th anniversary of the Battle of Britain, a battle won by the pilots, the ones which Winston Churchill called the few.
But as well as the pilots, there were also the aircraft, specifically the Spitfire and the Hurricane. There are only 10 Hurricanes in the world still flying. And in tonight's film, we're looking at the Suffolk Company, which restored 6 of them.
We do it because, first of all, they're iconic examples of British engineering. Everybody here loves the aeroplane, they're all engineers, and we chose, I think, the most difficult one to restore.
This is Hawker Restorations in Suffolk, a big shed in the tiny village of Milden. Here, a small team of highly skilled engineers spend time and other people's money on restoring World War II Hawker Hurricanes.
On average, and it's difficult to get a handle on it, but it's about 25,000 man-hours and quite a lot of capital investment with regards to tooling and engines and propellers, etc. Yeah.
For quite a lot of capital investment, read £1.6 million. This Mark I Hurricane is owned by a wealthy English businessman. It was originally piloted by Ken McGlashan of 245 Squadron in Kent. On May the 31st, 1940, he was hit by enemy gunfire over Dunkirk and was forced to land on the beach. Pilot Officer McGlashan was shot down when a bullet from a Messerschmitt 109 went through the frame of his front windscreen, through his shoulder and back into the fuselage. And this is the bullet in question. Ken McGlashan survived the crash, while the Hurricane lay buried in the sand until 1987, when some French enthusiasts dug it up. It came to Hawker Restorations as a pile of rusty old metal. It should fly again in a year's time, and that is always a special moment for the engineers at Milden.
It's tinged with fear. Yeah, it is a special moment, but I mean, obviously, you've spent 2-3 years doing something, even longer sometimes, and there are thousands of components in there, and of course, the priority is, safety. So it is an emotional exercise, but the first flight is quite daunting because you never know.
Sadly, Ken McGlashan never got to see his Hurricane fly again. He died a number of years ago. But it will fly again, and that means his story and that of the Hurricane will live on. Mike Liggins, BBC Look East.
Now, if you're a jockey, you know that at regular intervals in your career, you're likely to come off your horse fast, unexpectedly, and with potentially serious consequences.
It can mean injury, weeks out of the saddle, and of course no money coming in, which is why some new equipment in Newmarket could be so important. It's like a glorified bucking bronco, and the aim is to teach young jockeys to fall safely.
The Grand National, the world's most famous national hunt horse race. Of this year's 40 starters, only 14 finished. Falls like this are dangerous, and in this sport, inevitable.
On average, jump jockeys will take a fall once every 18 rides. You could have 3 in a day, and then you could go 20 rides without any, but the reality is you're going to have a fall.
So the British Racing School is teaching young professional jockeys to fall off more safely.
So there we are, the classic case of, I'm falling, I'm going to put my arms out. So the impact at his wrist is going to be pretty significant.
The process starts here in the classroom, then they try to master the technique in the gym.
Make sure you get that arm right across the ball. If you only do this, and you will find out there, if you only do that you'll stay upright and you'll go splat.
Finally, the chance to give it a go.
You're still fighting it. Go with the fall. Put your head down and roll. If you don't do that, you're going to get injured. If this saves a jockey from getting injured, it saves him a lot of money, it saves racing a lot of money, it's money well worth spending.
The instinct of actually learning to go with the fall and accept the ground and roll with it and absorb the impact is what we're after. And so that instinct of accepting it is the key thing.
The machine's called an equishoot. Built in France, the Injured Jockeys Fund has paid for it. Invaluable for someone like Kieran, who at 20 has already been knocked about a bit.
from the fall, I punctured both my lungs. I broke 5 ribs, fractured 2 vertebrae in my back, and I had a broken collarbone, and I was then sedated on the ventilator. It's definitely a wonderful machine. It's made a huge difference.
You ready? Here we go.
Injuries are an occupational hazard for jockeys, but this device should help to keep them out of the treatment room. Tom Williams, BBC Look East, Newmarket.
Fancy go on there?
I'm not sure I roll properly.
Not if there's a horse coming after you.
No.
The weather. I bet Sunday's nice, isn't it? Always going to